Okay, so I know it sounds weird to think that mathematics, could defeat evil, but it can't. Because we normally think of a game, you got a set of rules. The game's purpose is for one person to win. But those are just the games you like to play. So, for example, when a group of people are playing Monopoly, then the game ends when one person has all the money. And that end state, the final state of the game, is called the equilibrium. So we can look at the types of rules that you picked for your game and we can figure out what the equilibrium will be. The equilibrium for the rules of Monopoly, one person's got all the money. Knowing that equilibrium doesn't tell you which person is going to get all the money, but you know what's going to happen. The game ends when one person has all the money, or they toss the board and shout and everyone stops talking. Something like that. But there are other games mathematicians invent. This is what game theory is all about. Professor Zhang will tell you that game theory is all about optimizing your strategy of play within an existing game. That's not what game theorists do. Game theorists understand what the equilibrium of a game is based on the rules so that we can design better games. We can make a new set of rules that get you the equilibrium that you wanted. You get the outcome you wanted by picking better rules. So we already have systems, we already have games, sets of rules, where the equilibrium is a good thing for everyone involved. And we see those examples and we can generalize them. We can find other versions that expand where we can use them. So the classic game that I want to point to is cake slicing. If two siblings have a chocolate cake and they want to split it, but they're arguing, then their mom says, one of you cuts and the other one chooses. If you try to cut the cake and you cut unfairly, a big slice and a little slice, then your sibling's going to take the big slice. You lose by being unfair. So your best strategy out of all of your options, the best option for you is to be fair. You want to cut the cake as fairly as possible so that it doesn't matter which of the slices your sibling takes. So that's a game where your optimal strategy is to be fair, and so the equilibrium is a fair division of the cake. We know that the outcome is fair because of the way the rules were structured. Another example of this kind of game that game theorists invent is the Vickrey auction, Vickrey. This is a little bit more complicated because it's auction mechanics. But basically, in a normal auction where people are raising numbers and the guy's talking really fast, there's someone who ends up bidding a high amount and then no one else wants to bid after them. And that's when the auction stops. That's a normal auction. So when you bid that highest amount, that wasn't the most you were willing to pay. That's just slightly more than the second highest bidder. The second highest bidder bid $895 and you bid $896. So you bid just above the second highest bidder. We get the exact same outcome with a Vickrey auction. You pay the second highest bidder's amount, and the person who wins is the person who's willing to pay the most. And the way a Vickrey auction works is everyone just writes down their honest maximum bid. What's the most that you are honestly willing to pay? If you write down a number that's higher than your actual willingness to pay, then you're going to win the auction and you're going to pay more than you wanted to, which isn't good for you. And if you write down less than what you're actually willing to pay, then you'll lose the auction, even though the price that it sold for you would have been willing to pay. So in a Vickrey auction, your best strategy is to be truly honest about the maximum amount that you're actually willing to pay. You just write it down on a sheet of paper, put it in a box. Once everyone's put their maximum bid in, they open the box, they sort the bids from highest to lowest, And the highest bid pays the second highest price. That's it. Whoever put the biggest number down pays the second biggest numbers dollars. You're done. You get the exact same outcome as a normal auction, and you get there by being honest. So there was a guy named David Brahms decades ago. He found a way to slice a cake so that you can guarantee honesty and fairness from the players, and you guarantee a fair outcome. The equilibrium is fair, and the players are being honest because he picked the best rules to do it. That's what game theorists focus on. We don't try to get the best result for ourselves individually. That's exploitation. We try to find rules that give a good result for all the participants. So his cake slicing protocol works. It takes a little time. There's details. But he patented it. You can't use it unless you pay him. So I made my own version. It's up on the Medium essays, Rules You Can't Hack, and Optimal Negotiations. And this whole concept that I'm discussing is on the essay Forever Young on Medium. And I'm porting it over to Substack. So the concept here is that there are other rule sets you can pick that also have an optimal strategy of being honest and fair, and they're guaranteed to reach a fair outcome. And that's good. So this doesn't force someone to play, but it does let you filter people based on who's willing to play. So if I want to work with someone and I'm worried that there might be a dispute later, if we form a business partnership, we might start arguing and want to split the business, I'm going to bring in a contract. And the contract says we are signing to an agreement where if there's any dispute, we're going to use cake slicing protocol to split things up. And if that person is a good person who's happy being honest and getting a fair result, then they'll happily sign the contract. But if that person hoped to exploit me, then they don't want to sign the contract, because cake slicing protocol wouldn't let them win that way. If we're following cake slicing protocol and they're dishonest or unfair, then they actually get a worse result than me. They get the small slice. So someone who's hoping to be exploitative doesn't sign the contract. And that filters out all the exploitative people. And the only people who sign the contract are the ones who are happy being honest and fair. Which means that good unites and walks away, leaving evil behind. And when that happens, what you're going to see very clearly is that the good people were the ones producing real value, and the exploitative people weren't producing real value. So once good walks away, because they were able to unite using a contract that's honest and fair, then evil devours itself. And that's the critical concept. Good never had to fight evil to win. When good walks away, evil destroys itself. It's just that simple.